Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a full moon and Libra energy update for twin flames. This full moon occurred on April 16th of 2022 at 2:54 p.m. if you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Please check a time zone converter for your local time. This particular full moon energy is going to be with us for a little bit. So hopefully you all are riding it out smoothly. I went into all the reasons why this full moon may feel fraught with tension for the collective. So if you're noticing tension coming up in your relationships, there's great reason for that. And I talked about it in the Lightworker energy update for this lunation. Here's the full moon occurring there at the 26th degree of Libra, opposite the sun here at the 26th degree of Aries, square to our friend Pluto, and trine to our friend Saturn. This combination of energy talks a lot about drawing lines in the sand. It talks about boundaries. It talks about endings and the completions of cycles for this full moon in Libra. And I go into great detail about that in the Lightworker energy update. So please have a look at that if that's something you're dealing with. I certainly see for the twin flame collective and those experiencing divine connection and partnership, for the divine feminine energy resting here at 28 degrees Aquarius conjunct Saturn here. There's this recognition in divine feminine energy fields at this full moon in Libra, where certain things about the way they may have been in connection, been in relationship, may not really serve who they want to be to the collective, and the need to draw certain boundaries, the need to operate in greater integrity. Coming forward in divine feminine energy fields at this time, facilitating the draw toward changing up the relationship space in one way or another, changing up the collaborative space with others in one way or another. There is some recognition with this full moon in Libra what needs to shift in the way we're doing our relating with others in order for us to be fully present, be fully contributing, and be fully ourselves. And where you're finding that either collaborative circumstances, work, home, community, project, otherwise, or relationship circumstances, romantic partnership, business partnership, compromise you around your ability to be at your best so that you can give your best. This is the moment in time where the clarity about that is going to be crystal clear. And you will also have a sense of what needs to happen in order for you to come back to yourself, to come back to being operating at your highest and your divine feminine energy. Now, for those of you, we all know that all people, regardless of what their body is doing, all people have both energies, feminine and masculine, but some souls on the divine counterpart journey find that they exhibit at certain segments of their journey more exclusively a divine feminine energy. And for those of you who recognize yourself and call yourself divine feminine, this is a moment in time where you may really see Juno stacking up here in the way she has been with Mars. The last several lunations, I've talked about this, but this is really just starting to come to clarity now. Saturn talks about commitment, talks about boundaries, and kind of where things are in integrity and are in alignment, drawing a boundary around it so that it can be protected. This is an energy of divine feminine energy making commitments at this time with Mars, which I read as soulmate energy. For those of you who are into the labels and find yourself incarnating in one energy versus another, you may see commitment to a soulmate at this time. And this is part of the longer journey, part of the longer union window energy that opened at the start of this year, peaks at the start of next year. For those of you who were ready for this, if your divine counterpart is just nowhere on the scene, nowhere to be seen, this is a moment in time where if you were holding the vibration and the frequency of union energy in an unattached way to whom the union energy could be with at this time, you may really find commitments with soulmates are what's on the table for you at this union window energy. For those of you who are using the energy in that way. Okay. Divine feminine energy is also having a bit of a conversation here with this full moon. As I mentioned, this is talking a lot about coming to the close of a cycle, the cycle mostly being mental or in the world of communication, close of a cycle in the way that you're holding and or thinking about certain things in such a way where you're recognizing what doesn't work in your mental landscape, mental arena, and what does work and what you need to do to stay on a path where things actually really do work for you. So, that clarity and that illumination, remember, we're very early on in this union window energy. We're very early on in it. And it doesn't peak until this coming January. And then we still have all of next year where we're really feeling this energy. And so the completions, the culminations, these are part of the process to move you along the path toward the union energy that is appropriate for you at this time. Now, in a video last year, I talked about there being 4 different types of union energy that you could experience: union with self during a union window, union with the divine or your concept of God, your union with your soul group, union with your mission. And so how this plays out for you is going to be unique to just where you're at in your journey and your experience. If you want to talk about it, you can always book a private reading with me. There are spaces available at the start of May, so we can look at the totality of the union window for you and how it plays out for you. But just trust, and that's the gift of this energy at this time with Jupiter conjunct Neptune. And I talked a lot about that configuration in the Lightworker energy update. But there's a lot of support at this time to trust that what's happening is what's meant to be happening. That if it was supposed to go another way, it would have gone another way. And so there's a lot of support for grace and forgiveness and faith and trust with Jupiter conjunct Neptune for everyone in the collective. And for those of you who may be experiencing an ending with this full moon in Libra, because I certainly see the closing off of a particular cycle and partnership here. Talked about that as well in that video. I see an ending here. If that's what you're experiencing, have a bit of faith here that it was supposed to go that way. We're early on in the union window, and something else may unfold for you in the realm of partnership. Where it comes to divine masculine energy, this is an interesting one because this Jupiter conjunct Neptune can be read a couple of different ways. When Jupiter and Neptune are in conversation, what we have going on is an energy of divine masculine energy playing in the veil, not on one side, not on the other side, but literally being in the veil. And when you're in the veil, it can be hard for you to be found. It can be hard for you to be accessed by people on one side in the realm of spirit or people on the other side in the realm of physical form. And so, some of you who recognize yourself incarnating in divine masculine energy, again, if you are exploring the polarity, you recognize and identify yourself as divine masculine energy, and you identify less with divine feminine energy, which, some segments of some people's journey, that's what happens. You you embody the polarity as opposed to the energy of both as one. Sometimes you're just at that segment of the journey where that's what's needed of you, and that's part of what you're learning. Jupiter conjunct Neptune, if you're in divine masculine energy as a polaric energy, may cause you to feel two things. One, not like yourself. Two, completely ungrounded. Three, a lot of faith, hope, and optimism that might be unwarranted. But because there's also this conversation here with Pluto, lying to oneself is a little less plausible at this time. Hallelujah. Thank God. This is instead an energy of accessing your true source of power with just a little bit of effort, and recognizing that the power within you comes from a very sacred place of spirit instead of all of your worldly possessions, achievements, things you can check off or put down on paper. So, because of this experience of kind of, quote, being in the veil, not on either side, this is a moment in time where, if you are one of these people who recognizes you have both energies, your internal divine masculine energy may feel a bit hard to access, hard to reach. If you're one of these people who is experiencing more the polarity, you may find, and you're in separation, you may find your divine masculine counterpart is like in the wind. Like you can't find them. Conversation on the astral, conversation in the physical is just, it's gone. Like the connection feels very muted at this time. If you're one of these people who identifies as divine feminine in polaric energy, but if you recognize yourself as kind of both at this time, you may find it hard to access your internal divine masculine energy. Divine masculine energy is also here. Let me see where else the conversation is taking us. We've got this Plutonian placement. We've got this placement here, which is sextile to the North Node. North Node is what we're supposed to be learning at this time. And with North Node in Taurus, it's really talking about needing to learn how to love oneself, learn how to take care of oneself. And this particular lunation is going to provide some challenges to that, where in order to take care of oneself, you are going to have to Saturn square the nodes, draw some boundaries. You're going to have to give a good no, learn how to give a good no. I'll never forget that. There was a man I met once. I was taking a class and there were a bunch of different people in the class, and this class went on for months at a time. It was like a whole year program. And I remember at like one of the social events, one of the gentlemen who I was in class with had we'd kind of flirted, but not really, because it was more of a professional setting. And at like a cocktail hour, happy hour, he said to me, "You know what, Kay? You could really stand to learn how to give a good no." I was like, "What do you even mean?" He was like, "Well, if you're not interested, just say no. It's okay to say no." I was like, "Damn, you're right. I could stand to learn how to give a good no." And so this is kind of the invitation on the table for divine masculine energies at this time, whether you incarnate in the polarity, you have both, whatever you find is true for you. No is a complete sentence. No is an appropriate thing to say. No is something that is a vocabulary word in the lexicon given to you for a reason. Learning when to say no is one of the things at this time is going to keep you out of the shadow energy, which is what we're meant to be letting go of, that scorpionic shadow energy. That kind of self-destructive energy. Learning how to say no is what's going to allow you to stand in self-love at this time. And it will also support learning how to say no, will help others learn how to support themselves. Instead of, there's a phrase, it's very derogatory, but there's a phrase that in high school, my girlfriends and I had for a guy who just had to be the hero to everyone, and therefore he was kind of useless to anyone. We had this phrase for masculine energies who were like that, just got yanked in any direction any person with tears provided. And we called that kind of guy like a Captain Save-A-Ho. Like he just could not get over being the person who had to be everything to everyone and be everyone's hero, which meant that he was constantly letting people down because he was never able to follow through on a complete commitment or a complete action because he couldn't say no. He was always interruptible and like, like a dog with the ball off to chase whatever crossed his path next. And so, this energy is really providing divine masculine energy with a bit more support, and divine feminine energy too, to learn how to say yes to what's aligned and no to what's not, and to do it in a way that's graceful, that's easeful, and to not take emotional responsibility for other people's reactions to needing to solve their own problems. And so there is a bit of that too. And that Neptune there really facilitates support for divine masculine energy to be able to do that at this time. So it's a really beautiful energy there. And so just remember, like I said, this union window is long. Whatever's happening now is probably meant to, and that there's going to be multiple opportunities for ebbs and flow in connection with soulmates, with divine counterparts, with karmics, completion, forgiveness, openings, deepenings, letting goes. All of that is part of this process. So whatever's presenting now in connection, it's just important to allow it to flow. And that's one of the gifts coming through the divine masculine energy templates, is an ability to be in flow with what's presenting and really give yourself some grace as you're experiencing it. Now, on the other hand, right? Because Neptune, like I said, it represents the veil. It's the collective subconscious energy. On the other hand, because both Jupiter is out here in Pisces, collective subconscious. We've got Juno here inside of Aquarius, collective conscious. The other way that this can play out is an energy of kind of showing up in one another's kind of dreams and thoughts, like a lot of astral kind of communication back and forth, energetic back and forths going on between two people. Where even so much so that some of the same things that each of you experience, one of you experienced in the physical, just kind of transfers to the other in the physical. Ironically, I had that experience recently. So there's that can happen for you as well. Like, you get an injury, they get an injury kind of at the same time, that kind of thing, and not even know it. There's that. So that you can utilize this to your advantage to really sow forgiveness into your connection, to sow love into your connection, to sow balance into your connection, to sow seeds of openness to, how spirit wants to guide you in your connection, how the divine wants to guide you. You can really sow that into the connection at this time. There's beautiful energy for divine counterparts to really work at the energetic level on their connection in such a way that it facilitates not a yanking of the leash on your soul, which if you're a twin, you know what I mean by that. But instead, kind of like an easing of what this feels like, so it doesn't have to be so heavy and so that it can flow. You can sow a lot of forgiveness, like I said, with this energy here, and that forgiveness is a removal of a lot of the karmic blocks between the two of you. So it's a great time to do that, set intentions, and utilize this energy to sow harmony. in the connection. So beautiful stuff. I love to see it. If you want to see how it plays out in your connection, you can definitely book a private reading with me over at kmoonastro.com. The calendar is open as of now. I have one session left for the tail end of the month of April. It's a 30-minute session on the last Wednesday. And then after that, we're booking into May, but Union Window stays open all year. So if you're curious how it impacts you, let's book some time. Thanks so much for liking, subscribing, watching, and sharing. Please, 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 if you're new here and you heard something that resonates for you, definitely hit that subscribe button. Helps get this content circulated. And I will see you at the new moon. Take great care and bye for now.